I introduce our next moderator for our growth planning and dynamic market panel. These presenters are outstanding. Many of them need no introduction, but we will still give them one. But first, let me start off by introducing Stacy Holscher. Stacy is a local industry leader. She's a practicing broker in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and has been recognized nationally for her commitment to agent development. As a mentor, coach, and volunteer, Stacy can be found helping agents, clients, serving on multiple association boards, and when she has free time, sometimes she goes for a hike. Without further ado, let's bring Stacy Holscher to the platform.
Thank you so much, Richard, for the wonderful introduction. I am super excited to be here today. We have a fantastic panel of amazing top leaders in our area that have built some super successful teams. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first panelist, and that is Ms. Carolyn Young. Carolyn leads the award-winning Carolyn Young team, and she is one of the most productive and accomplished agents in the United States with an outstanding $1 billion in personal sales volume. Please welcome Carolyn to the stage. Awesome. Thank you, Carolyn, and welcome. And next up, we have Miss Keri Shull. She is the founder of the Keri Shull team, top selling real estate team across the DMV, and ranked number 21 mega team in the nation, according to Real Trends and Tom Ferry. Please welcome to the stage, Miss Keri Shull. Welcome, welcome, Keri. Alrighty. Next up, we have Ryan Zook. Ryan has been honored in countless publications and industry forums as a real estate industry leader. With a commitment to building in his community, Ryan finds himself as a respected realtor influencer. You'll find him coaching sports, raising funds for charity, or chasing the next big thrill in his free time. Please welcome to the stage, Ryan. I would also like to welcome back to the stage Dustin Fox. We gave him maybe 2 minutes to take a break and get some water before we're bringing him back up to pick his brain. So in addition to running one of the top teams in our area, Dustin is an accomplished speaker and soon to be a published author. His insights and social media are followed by thousands of agents and consumers. Welcome back to the stage, Dustin. Awesome. And our last panelist is Jason Cheperdak. He is ranked in the top 1% of Zillow realtors and leads a team of 40 with annual sales exceeding $250 million. Jason's personal production soared to over 100 million in both 2022 and 2023. Please welcome to the stage, Jason. Awesome. So we are here to pick the brains of all of the talent we have sitting here on the stage. They have built successful teams. They have weathered the storms and made it through some market shifts. So we have some really good questions to ask, and we're also going to ask that you guys submit questions via text as well. So my first question, I am going to open up to Jason. You're right here. Lucky you. So Jason, tell me, what challenges have you been faced with recently? And how are you demonstrating your value to consumers?
All right, back to the question. So I would say right now, we can all agree that the people buying and selling all are in unique situations that are in need of a transaction, right? People are not selling right now unless they absolutely have to. People are not buying unless they absolutely have to. So for us, it's adapting our resources. The hardest thing is to adapt the resources we have to serve those unique needs of the consumer today. And that is changing our marketing, changing why people are selling, which is changing how we're going to be marketing their property. That's the biggest thing. And it is the case-by-case scenario where everybody needs something different. And so for us, we're doing team collaboration. I feel like every time I go on a listing appointment, I've got another agent going with me. I've got another team member going with me. I'm getting more than one opinion, because otherwise, it's something I've never experienced before majority of the time. Who's with me? Yeah. Okay, we're in it together, everybody. So ask for help a lot.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to just kick it right over to you, Dustin, and keep it going.
I think for us, it's been, I think a little bit of a freak out with the Missouri lawsuit and the way our team is responding to that. Like the first two listing presentations that Devin and I went on, the very first one, my listing presentation is like a little bit about us, then what's going on with the market, then CMA, and then marketing, and then commission last. And I was only like to a little bit about us, and he was like, "So I hear I don't need to pay the buyer's agent anymore." So that was literally a few hours after the lawsuit. So you got to be prepared with that answer. And what I'm telling the team is when we're there, we're prepared with every listing presentation to say, this is the way things were, this is the way things are now. You've always had the option to not pay a buyer's agent commission, just like when we represent a for sale by owner, or when we have a buyer that wants to buy a for sale by owner, a lot of times they're offering no commission, and we're asking if they're willing to pay the commission, and it's a whole negotiation. So it's really no different than the way it used to be. It's just a different way of looking at it. So you have to be prepared to have those conversations when you get in the room with people.
We'll just keep it rolling. So here's what I tell people. If you are a solo agent, the market's down 40%, okay? Yeah, that means you have to go have 40% more conversations. And if you are running a team, you either have to have your agents become 40% more productive, or you've got to hire 40% more people. And so in this game of the market that we're in right now, it really is about buckling down, getting back to basics, actually lead generating as opposed to order taking. And a lot of the conversations we're having around with our team is really refining your value so that when you do get the at-bat, you're winning the at-bat. And so these are things like understanding, market trends, becoming the economist of choice, being very specific about what's happening in neighborhoods. And when you get those at-bats, you look like the expert. And so the conversations we're having are really just about fine-tuning your skill set. And if you're not doing it, somebody else in this room is. And so we're having those kinds of conversations with our team.
Definitely. It is so important to be able to articulate your value proposition, what you offer and bring to the table, especially with the lawsuits going on right now. And consumers are aware. Just this morning, I saw an ad on Instagram saying, have you bought or sold a house in the last 5 years? If so, let us know. You may be entitled to compensation. It's wild. Same question for you, Keri, please.
So I think to be successful with where we are in the market today, you have to be obsessed with each piece of the process. And you have to remember, what does a buyer want and what does a seller want? And how do you show them that you're the best person to provide that? So a lot of time that I'm spending right now is teaching my team how to stand out, because before somebody would decide they wanted to buy a house, and then we would take them out and they would buy a house, right? It was really fast, many times. Like in 2021, you might meet someone and they buy a house that weekend, right? You guys with me? Now, how many times does that happen? Not as much. And so because they're out there searching around online and they're really fatigued and nervous and scared, how do you stand out among other real estate agents to get in front of them? So a lot of what we're doing right now is using video in unique ways. We use an application called Dub. It's free. And you can actually showcase listings that you think might be a good fit for that buyer, because your only job is taking them from where they are to the next phase of the process. The agents that keep following what they used to do and they just try and move all the way to let's buy a house, you're scaring people away. If you're talking to them on the phone, the next step is getting in front of them. If you're in front of them, the next step is getting them to see houses. And how do you get them interested? Continue to show what you do that's different than what other people do. So a lot of it for us is just doubling down on the basics, but using technology to increase the interest of our prospects.
And I think a lot of it is ditto. It's the same thing. But, I would say for the most part, the last couple years, we've had buyers call, want to see a house, and go write a contract. So now we're all dealing with the same thing. We have a shortage of inventory. We have elevated or more normalized interest rates, and makes buyers nervous. So I think, really for the team on the buy side to be successful, that they have to be on the hunt. Like, they can't wait for the phone call that this house hit the market and I want to see it. Maybe they have to go out to neighborhoods and circle dial. Maybe they have to call agents that do a lot of business in a neighborhood and see if there's something coming soon. You've got to be proactive for the buyers, but I agree on the whole thing about high skill. Like, the agents need to have high skill knowledge to keep the mindset of the buyers and the mindset of the sellers, what's going on right now. Because the buyers that are nervous about interest rates, I mean, the normal interest rate, the average in the industry is 6.9 over the past 30 years. So it's like, it's not a bad place. We have appreciation 3 to 5% every year. So you have to step in the market and take and start your equity gain as a buyer. So it's, that the market is still a good place. It's the best place you can invest. And that's just being knowledgeable and skilled and being able to guide the buyers in the right direction right now.
So often it's a lot of doom and gloom, and it doesn't have to be that way. There are people, as you said, Jason, that need to move, that need to buy and sell. And the market is still strong, and we are very lucky in this area.
I agree.
We should all be very thankful for it because it is so transient, but our business opportunities are wonderful in this part of the country. So speaking about our market and how much it's changed over the last 3 years in particular, I'd like to know from a few of you, what are some advantages and disadvantages in your opinion to being a solo agent, to joining a team, or maybe even starting your own team? And Carolyn, since you have the mic, I'll start with you.
So I think, and I can speak from that because I've been an agent for over 30 years and I was a solo agent for 24. I really just started building my team in the past 6 years. So, but I think, as the 80-20 rules kind of change into a 90-10, where used to have 20% of the agents doing the business and 10%, now are doing 80% of the business or 90% of the business. So I think that that you're going to see teams continuing to take hold in the market and grow, because I feel like, as now that I have a team, when you're branding under one name, it's easier to take more market share. So in my opinion, it's either be on a team or start a team. A solo agent, it's kind of like, instead of running a well-skilled plays as a football team, it's like being a marathon runner. When you're a solo agent, every step is on your own, and it's hard. I think it's hard in this market to run a one-man show, but it can be possible long as you want to run that marathon.
Some sound advice there. Keri, what are your thoughts?
I started out my career as a solo agent and I felt really isolated and like I didn't have the right training. So I think part of what I see as an advantage for agents that are new to the industry or agents that are trying to take their business to the next level of being on a team is you have this amazing collaboration and support, and you also have access to leads. So I think the leads piece of the team, at least for myself, is critical, because if you have the opportunities for agents to work, how many of you guys feel like when you get in front of the client, you're successful? Raise your hands. A few of you are still trying to decide if you're awake this morning. I think for most agents, when you get in front of the client, you tend to be successful. The hard part is, how do you get more at bats? And a team offers that opportunity.
Here's what I'll say. Real estate can be a very lonely business, and it is hard in today's environment to go out there and be motivated to go grind. Now, I have some friends that are successful solo agents that just have found their groove and are absolutely just crushing it. And in some cases, some of those people are needing leverage, and so they're starting small teams or starting teams. If you're brand new in the industry, or you're looking for support, or looking for leadership, or looking for, honestly, a value proposition to compete with the people on this panel and their teams, That's the reason to join a team. And in my opinion, like, people out there, they just want to be surrounded by like-minded, driven people, and that's why they join teams. But if you are a solo agent and you have the drive, you have the fortitude, to the self-discipline to wake up and actually lead generate, a lot of those people are doing just fine in this market. At the end of the day, this really just is coming down to work ethic. And for those, well, here's what I'll say. Some of you guys in this room may be considering going and getting a part-time job because the market is so hard. And I want you to think about this. When you go get a part-time job, you're going to go work for a boss, and that boss is going to tell you when to show up and what to wear and a certain number of hours and how you're going to handle your business, okay? Imagine that you took the time, that time that you're working for a part-time job, and you put that into real estate. Now, a lot of team leaders can give you direction so you can plug in and essentially run your business that way, and not have to exit this business, okay? But if you're in that position where you're like, okay, what am I going to do? I need some extra income. Just treat your time as if you are going out there and making money, whether you're in a different job or this job. Treat your time that way. I'll say this: solo agents are great, and teams are great, and starting teams are great. Just decide where you want to go with your business. I mean,
yeah, I think when you're on a team, you can pull resources, which is obviously a big deal, like all the tech stack and everything that you offer. But you don't really realize until you start climbing the rankings. I was a solo agent for 6 years. I never wanted to start a team. I was very happy as a solo agent. Or solo, my wife and I were both solo, but kind of working together. But I really didn't have a lot of interest in doing that. I never did coaching. I was happy to just kind of go my own way. But it wasn't until Devin convinced me that this was the way that I went all in, or we went all in. And then we convinced a group of people, like, they have to trust you as a leader to say, we're going to pull our resources here together. And because we're going to pull our resources, we're going to be given more opportunities to list, to help buyers. And you're going to trust me as your leader that I'm going to give those opportunities out fairly to you. And that's how we've built. Like, I would never have been able to compete with like a Keri Shull like 6 years ago, 4 years ago. But now I'm in the conversation at least. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of our whole team for like what we've accomplished in that regard.
Man, tough conversation. Everyone starts solo for the most part. Somebody starts with teams. One thing that I found, I was a figure skater. Some of you may know that. And in the figure skating world, everyone's got a coach. Every pro athlete's got a coach. Every Olympian's got a coach. When you get into real estate, no one has a coach. It's crazy to me. I've always had a coach. Who here has a coach on the panel? We all have a coach. Tom Ferry. We all have coaches. And then we coach our teams. So that kind of, for me, correlates to this aspect that we all have the same amount of time. All of us the same amount of time. Unless you're not a human, we all have the same amount of time. And when you're on a team, you immediately change the way that you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with, the coaching that you get, the environment that you're in, and accelerates your capacity to execute based off of who you're with, right? If you spent 1 year with Elon Musk, you'd probably start a much better car company than if you spent 10 years working for a small manufacturer company. Maybe a bad example. But you can expand exponentially what you're doing by who you surround yourself with. So for me, I have always been on a team. I was solo for 5 months. In the last 7 years, I went from selling 8 homes to selling 150 homes this year as an individual agent, and a team selling a deal a day. So thank you. Thank you. So I would say, like, teams for me are the future of real estate. I just came back from the Zillow conference. Carolyn was there. And large conglomerate companies like Zillow, they're not focusing on the broad market. They're only focusing on the top teams to expand their business. And I believe that will be the future of real estate.
Thank you guys so much. I think a lot of you touched on mindset and surrounding yourself with people, and mindset is so huge, especially when things are a little bit challenging in the marketplace and you have to step outside your comfort zone and your patterns and habits. So I want to shake things up, and I have a fun question next. So hopefully we can get the crowd awake here too. And I am going to start with you, Keri. And my question is, what is an unpopular opinion that you have about our industry and business?
Okay, guys. Some of you are going to be offended. Are you ready? I think that people use real estate as an excuse to waste time on social media. Because you go to all these events and everyone tells you, oh, build your business on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and all of these things. And what I see, of course, not on my team. What I see is that people spend time being on social media, but not having a strategy around social media. So recently I was at FubCon. How many of you guys use Follow Up Boss? Anybody? Okay, they announced a very alarming statistic, and I cannot remember who did the research. The average real estate agent spends 3 months of their year on social media. How many of you guys believe that? That is alarming. And it is not putting money in your pocket. So my advice is be very limiting. In this market, you cannot afford to waste time. Limit your social media time and have a strategic plan and only do the activities that you committed to doing and get in and out, and then focus on prospecting.
How many people here just exit out of their social media apps? Yeah? Okay.
We have one honest man. There is one of you in the crowd.
Awesome. Carolyn, what about you? What's your unpopular opinion?
So this is a super tricky question. And I think that, the real problems in the industry, we all know what they are, right? Trying to do contracts when agents don't answer the phone. There's just always problems in our industry, but I think they're common or known as popular. So without going down a rabbit hole and worrying about what somebody does, I think what I would say that the most popular opinion when you're talking to people, especially if you're a little bit newer in the market or just coming out of, people just writing contracts left and right when you meet them at a house, is that the popular opinion is that this market is really tough. Maybe not a good time to be in the market. Things suck right now. But I would say that for me, maybe my unpopular opinion, because I've been in the industry, I went through the 2007 crash, that this is the best market to be in because it's a market of opportunity. For those that want to sharpen their skills, and roll out red carpet service to clients, this is the time to take your market share.
Woo, I love it.
All right, unpopular opinion. I'll say, hey, shut me off.
We got nervous there for a minute.
They don't want your opinion.
We might be a little scared of what your unpopular opinion is.
All right, we'll try this again. All right, an unpopular opinion. Most of you are just realtors in this room and not business owners. And what I mean by that is you don't have a plan of attack of what this looks like 5 years, 10 years down the road. And we're only as good as our last sale. I mean, once we sell our last house, that's the last commission dollars we've earned. If you've got a strong enough brand, you may be able to sell your database or get some referrals. But most people don't have an exit strategy, and most people aren't treating this business like a business. You're not calculating your expenses. You're not looking at P&Ls. You're just out there slinging real estate. And some of you are slinging real estate. Well, let me just say this. Some of you guys are business owners in this room, okay? But most realtors in the industry don't treat their real estate business like a business. And even if you're slinging a lot of real estate, start taking some time to get with a coach or get with somebody who's going to actually dissect your business, help you run a P&L statement, and eventually come up with an exit strategy. Because you guys know if you do this for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, Carolyn may do this for 50 years. You're 30 years in, right? 30.
Yeah, I'm just
30 years in.
I'm
And so
counting.
at the end of the day, some of you will get burned out. And so just think about the end in mind, come up with a 5-year plan, see what it looks like, and you'll surprise yourself on what your business looks like if you treat it seriously.
Awesome. Thank you. How about you,
There's
Dustin?
definitely an unpopular opinion. I didn't want to hear that. That's me.
He's just slinging real estate.
No, yeah. I mean, Devin is like the strong financial arm of us, and like I'm like a child with a marketing allowance. And like I don't want to hear any restrictions. So I'm going to ruin kind of any goodwill that I built with the first presentation. So I'm sorry here. One of my bugaboos, and this is just a personal thing, no hate for any of you guys that do this. I feel like if I was hiring like an attorney or a brain surgeon or even a mechanic, I'm not going to choose them based off of them being vulnerable on social media or their lifestyle photo shoots. And sometimes I see agents that spend more time doing lifestyle shoots than they do showing properties. And I'm like, be a professional and show your expertise. Like, you're not a Kardashian. Like, you're a realtor.
Way to be a dream killer.
Time to be unpopular.
Oh,
Okay. Here's my hot take. I believe that you should not be a realtor unless you own a house. I see you in front. Listen, we're helping somebody buy the most expensive thing that you're ever going to buy that could change their financial lives forever, have the largest financial impact. Could you imagine if he said, hey, in the front, I'm going to help you buy $500,000 worth of stock, and I've never traded stock before, and we're just going to like wing it. I don't know where the market's at. I'm not quite sure what the S&P 500 is, and I don't even know how I can put the money in there yet, but I need $500,000. We do that as realtors. And so I believe that when you go through the home buying experience, not the home selling, because you have to buy before you sell, but the home buying experience once before you help somebody, it's essential. And at least, that's unpopular. And then at least, if you can't do that, be in an environment on a team or with a full-time mentor with someone who's done it, so that when you are helping that person, you are being the fiduciary. You've got a Devin that is taking you through the entire process with your client because you're impacting that family's life.
That is a deep one. Thank you, guys. Just curious, by a show of hands, how many folks here started in this industry before they were a homeowner themselves? It's a pretty fair amount.
Donnie Sampson in front. I'm just going to
say,
call him
Donnie,
out.
what?
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for being really candid with that question. I want to kind of go back to talking about our team structure and businesses. So with that in mind, if you were looking to bring on a new agent to your team, what kind of experience, what skills, what personalities are you looking for today if you were to make some hiring decisions? I'll start with you, Carolyn.
So for me, I'm somewhat known in the industry for having very high producing agents on the team. And it's because I'm in the trenches with them. I work and I have a lot of big goals. So I have the same expectation of the team members because I just can't work with people that don't give it 100%. So we have, because we'll have, actually right now for us, we have the average agent on the team sells about 36 homes. So it's high production per agent. But for me, it doesn't matter if you're, young, old, new, experienced. If you have, we have core qualities that we go for when we hire. And if you have those qualities, which is, being coachable, adaptable, a commitment to excellence, desire for growth. We have a couple others in there, but we kind of go through that. And if everybody has that, then they're coachable, trainable, and they can be a rock star. So it just, as long as you have the desire to go.
The passion and the right mindset.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. Keri, what about you? What experience, personalities, or skill sets are you looking for?
For many years of growing the team, I really preferred bringing on brand new agents to seasoned agents because I'm going to be careful not to name a specific brokerage, but I felt like people were giving like major kudos and awards and they were amazing when they sold 5 homes. And for me, that programming was really hard to undo. And so some of the same qualities that you mentioned, the other piece, I want someone who's growth minded and really motivated and financially ambitious, but they have to care deeply about people. Because, and I get really emotional, like I cry in front of my team all the time. I believe we are changing their families' lives. And so having humans that care deeply about other humans is what makes all the difference. The other piece of that is that they have to care deeply about humans and they have to be able to handle rejection repetitively. How many of you guys get rejected all the time? Some people who care deeply about humans, because they care deeply, can't handle rejection and keep moving. So I think you have to have this deep desire to serve people, but also really thick skin and an ability to not take things personally in this business. Because buyers and sellers emotionally are at their worst many times when they're dealing with us. The numbers are huge. The money is huge. The stakes, they're going through a divorce. They had a death in their family. The emotions are high. And so while you have to care deeply, you also have to have the ability to move through the emotional discomfort of the other person. And so when we're interviewing, we talk a lot about that. What's going to happen if someone tells you to F off on the phone? Are you going to go sulk and walk around the halls and feel sorry for yourself? Or are you going to move to the next phone call and keep moving, right? I think that is the number one thing. Yeah.
I completely agree. And the emotional side's important. I mean, I think I probably cry at least once or twice a week at work, something work related. And it's usually something that pulls on the heartstrings, not because I'm stressed out, although that happens sometimes too. But yeah, I mean, the emotional side is business, it's professional, but also this is everything for our clients. And we are the ones that are guiding them. It's a huge deal. And you have to be passionate about that in order to continue on and to succeed. So same question for you, Ryan.
So we run a team that's, I think, a little bit different than some of the agents up here. I've been out of production for a while. I'm not in the trenches. We don't have strong accountability in terms of morning huddles and lead gen requirements. For our team, it is mainly about a culture fit. We just got back from our team retreat, and we do that down at our lake house. And I think about whether or not I want to hang out with them at the lake house. At the end of the day, I mean, I'm being serious. I mean, if they're going to be the weirdo walking around the lake house late at night, and I'm like, okay, should we lock the doors or what should we do? I mean, they shouldn't be on our team. But all kidding aside, in the model that we're in right now, when agents come to me, I ask them what they want and what they need. And some people in this industry need strong accountability, and they need the morning check-ins, and they need hey, I need an office environment to go check into and be around people that are dialing, for 2 hours. And there are a lot of great teams, including on this panel, that run a ship like that. For our ship, ours is more about being a good culture fit, somebody who wants to plug in. We prefer, we'll take new agents, and we've got a system for that. But we prefer established agents that want to plug in, that have run a strong solo business and just want more systems to help run their business and alleviate some of the pain. I will say this, if you are at a place right now where you're thinking about starting a team, don't go just hire a bunch of agents, okay? You want to go you want to go hire somebody who's going to help you with some administrative work first to alleviate some of the time, okay? And then you want to find somebody who's got a similar work ethic to you that will help support your leads. And then you can grow from there. And don't go give away the farm too. Some of you guys will say, hey, I need to bring on an agent. So badly, you're going to give away 80% of the commission. there are people that will do the deal with you for 50%, 30%, 25% if you have those leads. And some of you guys have a strong enough solo business that you're in a place that you need to start hiring somebody to help you from a leverage standpoint.
Awesome. I love the comparison, slightly different models here. I am just wondering if you have any tips on how we would seem cool enough to hang out at your cabin.
I don't know. We run a whole gauntlet course. There's like a hazing period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never been.
I know. There's a reason. I love you, Jason. Yeah, that was a softball for sure.
Awesome. I'll throw it over to you, Dustin.
I would say resourcefulness, like competitiveness, like a will to win. Like resourcefulness is a hard thing to kind of dig out in like a multi-interview step process. But I will say when I say will to win and competitiveness, we are all in the best time ever to be a real estate agent between podcasts, coaching, YouTube. Everything that you would want to learn is there available to you. The bad news is there's no excuse. It's all there. You just have to do it. And we have a core value is there's no problem you can't solve if you know your business from A to Z. So be a professional, be obsessed, as Keri mentioned early, about your business, because if you are not, there are other people that are going to walk all over you. You have to be obsessed with this at all times.
I'm obsessed. Anybody else obsessed? Come on, guys. Who's obsessed? All right. I was like, we should hear a lot of noise in this room this morning. All right, Jason, give it to me. What are you looking for?
3 things. I like what you said. I'm going to steal it because it's a good summary. It's a will to win. Nothing is easy, okay? Everything's hard, and there's a ton of rejection. So will to win is super important because if somebody doesn't have that or demonstrate that, they can never work a lead. They're going to call the lead once and then be over. It's not going to work. We have that problem still, but a will to win. Second thing is energy, right? Has anybody talked to somebody and at the end of the conversation you had far less energy? You pick up the phone and you know in the first 30 seconds if you're losing or gaining energy. So anybody on our team, when I talk to you, I am gaining energy, right? I'm a low energy person. I'm a high energy person, and I like to be around high energy people that we all feed together, create momentum, and a willingness to win as a team. And the third piece is the mission statement of the team, Shepherd Homes Group. And tagline is to be a shepherd, to sacrifice ourselves to guide and protect those we care for. Be a shepherd for them. I got an awe in the audience. Right? So it's a team with a true mission statement. And so we listen to the team's story, what their whys are, why they're wanting to help people. And all of our marketing and how we help people is in that regard. So if you align with those 3 things, you're on board, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Awesome. So if anybody's looking, Jason is hiring on vibes, just so you all know, okay? All right, it's on vibes. So next question is, if you could go back in time, is there one thing that you would change when you were building your team, and what would that be? And we will start with Dustin because he has the mic in his hand.
I would say, when you're starting a team, number one, unless you are Steve Jobs charismatic, which I am not, not everybody that's the most experienced are going to want to join your team because you are an unknown. You may be a successful solo agent, but when you go to start, we interviewed 54 agents to hire our initial 8. And of those 8, none of them had been in the business for more than 2 years. So even we're very involved in our brokerage. So we had a lot of people come in, but the mistake that I probably made, and they're still with me and I love them, but I would say probably no longer hiring part-time agents. And it's not because I don't think you can't be successful part-time because you can. You can't be as successful as you could be if you weren't part-time. And it's very frustrating as a team lead when you're not there for meetings and you're not there for critical conversations that need to be had in trainings. And then you have a listing opportunity or what have you. And you're like, what do I do now? And I'm like, where have you been the last 3 months? So that's my answer.
Ryan, how about you? Is there one thing that you would go back and change?
Yeah, what I'll say is there's 2 different styles of teams. There's a team where you have leads and You have strong accountability, stuff like that. And then there's what they call groups almost, or marketing groups, where you have a brand or a coaching arm that you're giving value to agents. Both of the models work. And it's, the marketing group is more similar to, hey, I'm going to coach you. I'm going to give you a value proposition, and you get to plug and play, but there's no strict accountability. Okay, if you're running the other version, and by the way, I've kind of started with that version, and I tried to go back to the other version. If you're running the other version where you're running a team that is lead-driven, don't go hire a bunch of agents. Get the leads first. Get the admin, like I said, second. And then once you have too many leads that you can service, then you bring agents in. And the MREA book tells you should hire a showing agent after you've hired the admin. You hire a showing agent and you pay them 20% to go show properties. Most of you guys start a team and you just say, hey, you're a friend of mine. Come on over. I'll give you 75% of all your business and we'll be good. And that's not really running a team. Okay, so my advice is hire admin, go showing agent model, then have the showing agent graduate to a buyer's agent. Buyers nowadays take 50, 60, 70 hours. So you as the team leader can still do listings. Listings take 8 to 12 hours of time, of agent time. Assistants do the rest of it. So just think about what you want. Do you want to run more of a coaching value proposition model, or do you want to run a team model and then kind of work from there? So,
Awesome.
And both models work. I've seen them both work at super high levels.
Strategy behind either, most definitely. What about you, Keri?
So I think your question was, what would we change from how we built the team?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to disagree with something you said, because we all think so differently. I hired an admin first, and for me personally, she was with me for 4 years. She helped me build the team. She was a fantastic hire. But if I were to do it again, knowing what I know after coaching teams around the country, I think most agents hire an admin first, and it's actually a mistake. And here's why. I think that the way to determine, coaches want to tell you, do this, then this, then this, then this, just like Gary's book, right? First you do this, and then you do this. I think that it has to be more individualized based on your strengths and weaknesses. And most coaching programs don't want to tell you that, because then they would have to individually know your strengths and weaknesses to give you advice. Okay? So my coach told me to hire an admin, and I listened, and it worked. If I were doing it over again, I would have started with an assessment of how I was spending my time. And what I would have discovered is I was spending the majority of my time showing homes. So having a licensed partner would have been a better fit. And I personally don't like the term showing assistant, because I feel like my clients are really important to me. So having somebody who's not making a lot of money taking care of that relationship scares me. Does anyone else associate with that a little bit? So for me, the way that I built it in the long run, because I'm a mom of 4, you guys, I have a 2, 4, 6, and 8-year-old, right? It's wild. It's wild at my house.
That's why she has the coffee right next to her.
That's why I have the coffee with me. For me, I decided work-life balance was really, really important in how I structured not just my time, but my team's time. And so when people are doing a certain amount of production, I have them do the strengths assessment, and then they hire somebody that's licensed that will be their right hand, so that they're able to do more production and have more work-life balance. Most of the time what they find is they're spending so much time showing houses, going to home inspections, that if they had a highly paid person, it's easier to hire someone with a salary, because there's a lot of risk of coming into our business. So I would think about the sequence of my hiring differently.
Interesting, thank you. Carolyn, what about you? If you could go back and change one thing, what would it be?
So I agree with a lot of stuff Keri said, and she's grown an amazing team at a much faster pace than I have, so we're going to have lunch next week. But but I would say, to go back and change, so keep in mind, I've been in the industry over 30 years, and at 6 years ago, I got introduced, because I coach with Tom Ferry. We all have our own coaches, what we do. But for me, it was stepping in that room and talking to so many people with such amazing mindsets. And so what I learned was surrounding myself with big thinkers and not feeling like I'm in a box and there's so much opportunity out there. The last 6 years of my life, you know, which really, being in the industry as long as I have, I started my team at age 57 when at that point I was kind of thinking of going more in retirement mode. But, you know, but for me, it's been so much fun. When is my exit strategy? I don't know. I have more energy than most 25-year-olds. So I have a lot of energy, and I'm going to keep going until I feel like it's time. And I don't think that's coming around anytime real soon. But by becoming that and learning how I can grow and how I can change my mindset, it's been so rewarding, more like Keri, to build it and then hire, because we definitely are a lead gen team. It's been just so amazing and rewarding now for the people that come on my team, even though we have like kind of a very particular culture, but it is so heartwarming and life-changing to see agents come on my team, make moves with their family, help their kids get house, buy Airbnbs, investment properties. It's just really awesome to see other people's life change and all work together. But if I had to say, what would I change? I just wished I could have done it 15 years earlier. Go for it. Go for it. Well, when I started in the industry, I had 3 kids and I was a single mom. So it's not been an easy struggle, but that's why I think this market's an opportunity, because no matter what the struggles are of the market, or no matter what the struggles you go through as a person, it makes you a stronger and a better person.
Awesome. I love it, Carolyn. The message I have there is loud and clear. Don't wait. If you have ideas and aspirations, go for it.
Never guarantee tomorrow, so why wait? But for me, like, I love what I do. I absolutely love it. And the thought of me not working or whatnot, I just couldn't imagine right now. So I don't see that anytime soon. So
Awesome. Thank you. And last but not least, what about you, Jason? What would that one thing that you changed be?
Yeah, I think amazing answers, right? So I'm going to give the lens for anyone who's not full-time yet. So I was a store manager at Target. Many of you have shopped at the store. If you shopped at the Hyba Valley store or the Potomac Yard store, I was the one while your peanut butter was out of stock. I'm sorry. And I grew our team. I started the team while I was there. We sold $80 million in sales while I was working a 55-hour-a-week job. And the number one thing I would have done differently is quit that job a whole lot sooner. So what I realized is with the team, you have your clients in your hands and you have your team in your hands. And you need to be able to get 100% of them to them. And you need to devote. It is so hard to start a team. I don't want you guys to think that it's like just easy to start a team. It's a grind. You got to go all in to start the team. And I was working, I don't know how many hours, I was sleeping in my car at lunch. Okay, that's what it took. When I quit my job, we did $165 million in sales the next year. Crazy, more than doubled. So my advice to you guys, when I do it over again, is I would go all in 100%, quit everything I had. And if you're going to start a team, you have to do everything needs to be that team.
I love it. More, don't wait. And put all of your focus into it, all of your energy. We've heard a little bit of a theme there with the part-time versus full-time. It can be challenging, especially when you want to build something big and awesome for yourself. So quick reminder to text in those questions for our Q&A. Hopefully we'll have some time. You guys can ask questions to our panel a little bit later. So my next question is, you know, given what's going on in today's market, what are you doing to motivate and bring energy to your team? I'll start with you, Carolyn. I think you might have the only hot mic right now.
Oh, okay. So I think for me to keep the mindset and the energy of the team that I lead by example, I'm still in production. I'm in the trenches with them. We have a very unique situation that we do that's amazing. My sales manager has Zoom open every morning from 9:30 to 4:30, so everybody pops in and works whenever they want. But in the mornings, we always have a huddle. And I think, you have to keep a positive mindset about what's going on and how to win. We share wins. I'm in coaching. I'm in team coaching. My team has a coach. I coach. We role play. We go over the objections in the market to be stronger and more skilled. We're practicing buyer presentations. And everybody's like really excited and having a lot of wins. And, we're actually, faring very well in the market, but it just gives them the strength. Really, it's mindset in this market. Like it's just a mindset of knowing that you can handle what obstacles are put in front of you and having that determination and mindset. And that's what we constantly work on.
It's so huge for me too. And role playing is huge too. And I know so many people groan when they hear role playing, but my goodness, I love it.
Critical.
I love it. I mean, I'll role play even with myself recording on my phone. It is so important. The first time you're talking about something new to someone, it shouldn't be in front of a customer or client. Right?
I do all the time, even on the agents on the team. I'll just in the middle of the day, they'll be out showing property. I'll call, hey, I just want to let you know, I already have an agent. I'm waiting until the interest rates. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, what's the answer? But when you learn to do it, it just becomes so natural that when you're asked it by a client, you're like, I got that,
Yeah, there's no stumbling there. You're ready and prepared to answer it. I love it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Keri, what about you? What are you doing to motivate your team and keep energy up given the market?
Well, I'm a huge advocate of coaches. I usually have multiple. And so one of the things that I did, I think when things are changing, you have to focus on basics. And a lot of times when things get really busy, you get away from that. And so the theme for us has been, how do we focus on basics? I'm very process driven. I think when people have a process to follow, they can be far more successful, and they need to get so confident in the process that they can make it their own. So and I'm a role playing dork. I had a lot of people who didn't like me early in my career because whenever the teacher would call on us in class when I was learning how to sell new homes, I was the one in the front of the room with my hand up. That is still me today as a team leader. I'm like, hey, let's talk about this challenge and let's work through it as a group. And I play hot potato with them, and we have the actual squishy hot potato, and I throw it around the team meeting. And I'm somebody who thinks if you're enthusiastically practicing your skills all the time, you're going to come out on top. And so we hired a coach for our team. We have 7 coaching sessions, and they're in pods based on production and goals. And that coach is role playing with them and focused on how do they optimize the leads in their database. How do they use video to follow up? What should they say? How should they say it? What's the text message they should send? It sounds silly, but when you're trying to motivate people, a lot of it is giving them the exact actions they need to take to have success. And then being very intentional about celebrating that success, because when they see it working for their peers, all of a sudden it becomes fun to do it.
Yes.
And one more thing I do something called Coffee with Keri. And it's basically just me sitting in a room. I pop open the Zoom. Anyone who wants to come in person comes, and I answer any question they have. Life, business, challenging situation with a client, whatever. And that enables us to have a really close culture where we problem solve as a group. It's kind of like a mastermind group think conversation. And I love doing that too.
I love the accessibility. That's awesome. Jason, what about you?
Switching it up. So every year we reset the business and look at everything all over again. And this year was super collaborative. So our buyer presentation, our listing presentation, every team member was involved in remaking everything. New listing signs. So every collateral of marketing that we're doing, we're saying it's horrible, let's redo it, and redoing everything. Full reset. Our business is terrible, how do we make it better? That happens across the board every single year. And we're really excited about what we're investing in. And then we took our very successful year up 37% year over year in today's market. We're taking 100% of the money that we made and reinvesting it in the business into new sources. And then with that, each individual agent, we have a one-on-one, and each agent creates their own business plan, because it's not my business, it's their business. And then we're saying, how do we as a team help you in your business create what you want to create for yourself. And then on November 16th, we have our huge annual Shepherd Homes Group meeting. We cover the plans for the company, cover the plans for each agent. And what's really amazing is I believe right now our team has 50% of the sales we did this year already in the pipeline for next year, which is so cool. And covering that, everyone should be in a place that is super excited. They have a plan for the business. There's no questions, and nobody has any excuses for success.
I don't know. I think I can always find an excuse or
No.
two. Awesome. How about you, Ryan? What are you doing to motivate your team?
So everybody here probably sets goals, but chunking those down into 12-week goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and then celebrating the success for just doing the activities. And if you do the activities, the results will come. And so, honestly, we're just celebrating the small successes that then turn into bigger successes. Another thing that we're doing just kind of with our team members is being present personally and professionally with them, spending fun time with them, doing content creation for those that have video people. We've got a full-time videographer, and just going and hanging out with them and shooting content with them. People love that stuff. And so really just celebrating the small wins and being present and having fun, and that keeps the morale high.
Yes, you have to make it fun. And celebrating those wins goes right hand in hand with accountability and culture too, because we want to see our entire team rise and hit their goals. It feels good to be a part of that. Dustin.
One small thing, because I think I agree with everybody here. I'm like Carolyn, like where I'm in the trenches. So is Devin. Like we're doing open houses every weekend. We're there. We have no interest. We never got into this just with the idea of being a figurehead. Like we want to be the pace cars. And one small tweak that Devin recently made about 6 months ago that's really greatly increased our sales and our conversion is every Sunday night she sends the weekly email to the team, and it has all the sales standings. It has all the lead conversion standings, their percentage of lead conversion that's shared visibly. And I was like, ooh, I don't think they're going to like this. And Devin was like, hey, look, we have to shine light on it. And, that way they're going to see who's getting opportunities and why. And it's funny because a lot of them say, oh, you didn't need to do that. I'm not that competitive. And then like when Devin does our assistant does the social media post for top agents of the month, the one that said that they weren't competitive called me and was like, hey, you missed a new construction sale in there. I was second place. I was like, oh, I thought you weren't competitive. And I like it. Like it starts to bring it out. And then the other thing we do is we have one of our meetings every month is we all go to a restaurant, we break bread, we get everybody lunch, and we always make a point. I always make a point of getting up in front of everybody and pointing out specific successes that are in line with the core values of our team that I need everybody to hear. And when we have sales contests, I know this sounds kind of tacky, but Devin is like, babe, you can just mail them the check when they win. I was like, no. I want to print it out and I'm going to hand it out in front of everybody. It has a bigger impact. So like just little things like that. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll just do all ones.
Or get a big publishers clearinghouse size.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love it. More recognition, positive recognition, ties into culture and accountability. It's all fantastic. So my next question is just, as we get closer and closer to the year ending, I want to know what's one change that you're implementing in 2024? And I'll start with you, Dustin, if you're okay.
I would say we're doing a better job of like making sure that the people that we hire and the people that are not comfortable yet are willing to do video. And I didn't do video. I was afraid of video. I always said, like, when I would see an agent in a video, I would always say, ugh, that's about them. That's not about the property. Always cynically really looking at it. It wasn't until I started split testing the videos with me in it, or with one of our agents in it versus not in it, that I saw how many more clicks it was getting. I was like, okay, it actually works. And then I was praising all of these agents for doing video, and then Devin said, hey, you have a listing coming up. It'd really be hypocritical of you not to do a video since you've been praising them. I'm like, damn it. So, I mean, it was really tough for me. But now that we're a couple years into it, doing the video, We've gotten a lot more comfortable. We're doing a lot more TV advertising. So the mission next year is we're doing a ton more TV commercials with our advertising.
I can't wait to see more video from you next year in 2024. Awesome. Ryan, what about you? What is the change that you're going to implement in 2024?
Yeah, we've been good at short form video. I mean, I get a decent number of leads through Instagram. My boy John Coleman back there, I think he's on social media. I see you. He's going to talk about YouTube probably later. Everybody that I hear in every coaching session is talking about how they're winning in YouTube, and we are launching YouTube. And I mean, I know people that are, like, got a good friend of mine down in Orlando who, I mean, generated 600 leads or 600 sales just off of his YouTube channel. And that's a pretty good amount of business. So
Yeah, I would
YouTube
like
is what we're going all in for the next 6 months.
Awesome. YouTube video. All right. I'm seeing a trend. Keri, what about you? What's
May
your
I
change?
share one very tactical thing I just learned about YouTube that blew my mind?
Please.
Do you guys know how much content I do on YouTube? It's a ton. And I went to a conference and someone did 380 transactions and they had like a quarter of the videos that I do. I'm like, what the hell is going on? They tag the first comment and they have a survey. I'm happy to share it with the group. I'll post it on my social media, like, this guy is a YouTube god, study him. But I'm changing the whole way I'm doing YouTube because of this conference I attended.
Fascinating.
Tyler, I don't remember, but I will literally call him out on my social today and be like, this guy's a rock star. Because if you're gonna invest the time in YouTube, I invested a ton of time. I had 3 full-time videographers at one point. And I'm not getting the results that he was getting because I wasn't as good at it as he was. So I'm happy to share what he's doing.
Thanks for the
The
tip.
thing I am changing, it's always challenging to figure out growth and leads and how to balance. And so I'm capping the number of agents that I'm hiring at 100. And we have about 75 today. And so my intention for that is making sure that we create incredible productivity per person. And I switched the way that I'm recruiting, and I'm offering a $100,000 guarantee. I think a lot of people in the market are scared right now, and they want to make sure financially that they're successful. And I do it for sellers. I reverse the risk, and so I decided to do it for agents. So that's probably the biggest thing.
Awesome. That's a big one. Carolyn, what about you? What's your 2024 change?
So I think a lot of things for 2024. Obviously, just growth strategies. But I think for us, one of the main things that I'm really going to lean into more, and we're doing the AI like for listing descriptions and stuff, but there's so much more that it does. Like, we're using that for, now building the agents, which it's so cool. You can ask, ChatGPT for 20 questions and have them answer one at a time about their goals, finances. It's a whole series of questions. And take those questions and then say, now build my business plan for 2024, like Tom Ferry would do, to do this many transactions, and tell me what my lead pillars are. And it's really awesome. So we're doing that for 2024, definitely leaning more into AI. And of course, now then I have to say, I know this isn't a brokerage thing, but I just joined the Sampson family and I couldn't be happier to be here. So of course, everybody's been so welcoming, but I'm really excited to launch the print this year because we don't do a lot of print. And that's something big that we're going to lay into too. So
Awesome. Leverage that technology, and hopefully everybody got to catch Dustin's workshop earlier. So last but not least, Jason, what's your big change for next year?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned earlier, we're basically changing every piece of our business this year. So I'm going to just pick one, but everything's changing. And it's actually a relationship with Zillow. So everyone's got like a love-hate relationship with Zillow. For me, it's a love relationship. I just came back from the invite-only Zillow Unlock conference in Austin, Texas. And the amount of technology and changes that Zillow's doing in our industry, I could speak on for an hour. So that will have to be a speech for another day. We're going really deep in our relationship with Zillow in both advertising, how we use their tech, how we're going to use their AI. There's a ton of stuff that's launching January 1st, brand new technology, and we're going to be at the forefront of it.
Awesome. There is a huge technology trend here, in case anybody hasn't picked that up yet. I appreciate hearing all of your wisdom about what you guys are going to do next year, and this has been a fantastic discussion, and I believe that we have some questions from our awesome audience here.
Good morning. Let's try this again. Thanks, Jason, saving the day. So, Keri, you mentioned you had 75 people approximately on your team. A question that came in was, how many do the others on the panel have on their teams right now?
Right now, we're in the process of growing to prepare for next year. So we've gone from having 15 agents in third quarter to 23 right now.
Yeah, we've got about 20 agents on our team, 10 of which are full-time.
Devin and I have 39.
We're at 23.
Great. The question everyone, of course, would like to follow you. Dustin, you gave us your Instagram handle in the last. Can you tell us again? And then can everyone else give us your preferred handle that you would like to follow on social media?
I'm speaking next, so y'all better stay.
Oh, you're gonna
and
get
my
it again? Yes.
my Instagram handle is going to be very large, and you can follow me. I post a lot.
You gotta wait and find out.
You got to wait and find
It'll
out.
it'll probably be on his slides.
Come to the next shot.
It's at Dustin M. Fox with a D.
At Ryan Zook, Zook.
I don't know. I think it's just at Keri Shull. But is it?
I think that's what it is.
I follow you, Keri.
Thank you, Jason,
I'm old.
for
I'm
following
into
Keri.
Facebook, guys.
Mine is Carolyn Young Team on Instagram, Carolyn Young Team on Facebook. And if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to follow me on Instagram and then ask any questions. I'm always happy to help.
So Jason talked about his love of what's coming up with Zillow technology, and Keri, you talked about Follow Up Boss and using that. The question came from the audience, what is your opinion and strategy about using Follow Up Boss now that Zillow acquired it, and are you concerned about any data?
Thanks for asking that question. I will admit, I do not like Zillow at all. Like, there's a hate on my side. It's a hate relationship. And so when I heard that the news, at first I thought it was complete baloney. Then the executives from Follow Up Boss started calling me, and the first missed call, I was like, holy shit, this is real. Wow, okay. Yeah, I was quite shocked. But what I realized is, because of the TCPA requirements, I do not think that Zillow could use our data if they wanted to. And I understand that the way that Dan structured the deal, they cannot, and there's third-party auditing happening. So Follow Up Boss, in my opinion, and you guys can have your own opinions, your business is different than mine. I'm not telling you to change CRMs, please don't. But from my perspective, it's the only scalable CRM that makes sense for growing a team. And I think in discovery, Zillow realizes that, and they have a standalone asset. So I wouldn't jump off of Follow Up Boss. That is not what I'm doing. But I was a little afraid at first.
Great answer. So, question for all the panel members. We've all talked about work-life balance. You have teams you're running. You have a lot of production you're doing. You have a lot of interest in outside activities. What are you doing to make your client feel like they're the only client? Because you're limited on time and you're limited on the resources that you have. How are you making each client feel special?
Well, I just spoke, but is it okay if I go quickly and then I will pass the microphone? I think it's about really understanding their motivation and their needs and being very focused on consistently showing them that you care. So as an example, if somebody is talking about the backyard and that's what's important to them, and you ask the right questions to understand why, when you have that deeper emotional connection with their goals and you continually show them that you're focused and working on it. If we're working with a buyer, we do not sit still and wait for the MLS to pop something up that matches their criteria. We're out door knocking, we're sending letters, and most importantly, we're telling the client exactly what we're doing to accomplish their goals and why. I think a lot of times agents are willing to do the work, but they fail to communicate what they're doing. That is everything in developing deeper relationships with your clients.
Yeah, if you're a solo agent and you've got a family or a partner or a spouse or whatever it may be, your clients will understand that you can have some boundaries. You can set time for family dinner. Yes, there are the occasions where you have to go put out a fire. But by and large, if you take the time to set the boundaries, your clients will respect it. If you are thinking about starting a team or running a team, when I started my team, I was a single dad. I had 3 young kids. And it's hard to go show properties when you are out on a baseball field. And so if you're getting to a place where you're trying to figure out how to service the client in a great way and be a great mom or dad on the baseball field, it really is finding the right person that will take care of them the way that you would. And that's just, I mean, that's the name of the game, finding the right person, the right agent that will service the client the way that you would normally do it. So
I think for us, we're really big in terms of making our clients feel special. The last Cox Farm event, we had 813 clients there. So we gave away $10,000 worth of raffle prizes to our clients. And that's the most fun part for me, is like, I'm just got a bullhorn and I'm picking raffle numbers and giving out prizes. These kids are going crazy. It's also great social media content. So doing events like that, we put everybody, Devin and I have all of our past clients, and we encourage all of our agents to put all of their past clients on Client Giant. It's $100 a year. It sends them 4 gifts a year. That's kind of a set it and forget it. We used to do pop buys when it was like my first year or 2 in the business. It wasn't until I knocked on a door and my past client came downstairs. They were clearly had just had sex because the hair was all disheveled. So that was like the end of my pop buy days. I was like, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And I was talking to my mentor, and he was like, you're supposed to text them and let them know you're coming. I was like, it's a pop buy. You just show up. So yeah, just really kind of treat your clients, and yeah, that's.
give the mic up.
Yeah, yeah.
Jason, take the mic.
I'm
I
glad
can always follow
I'm
it.
glad the relationship is doing well, though.
So I'm going to go back to the unpopular opinion part, which is that I actually believe my number one reason a customer or a client is satisfied is urgency and availability. Almost always urgency and availability. When I have raving fans, it's like Jason's the guy that answers my call at 9:30 p.m. while he's on a plane on the Pacific Ocean because he has the tech to do it. Like that level of availability. So I don't know if there is true work-life balance, if we're going to have that exceptional growth as an individual agent. I don't think it's possible. I think it's like you're on 100% of the time. Every time I'm working with an agent that's not on 100% of the time, I'm trying to ratify multiple deals on a Sunday night. I'm frustrated. My clients are frustrated. They're thinking, these agents aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I get recognition. So that's a hustle piece that I think it's hard to circumvent. With that, though, you can find that leverage and that availability of time when you're on a team or have a team. And we just got there. We have 17 support staff for 23 agents. Think about that. 17 support staff for 23 agents to service our clients so we can have availability. I travel 2.5 months in the year, 7 countries this year. I love to travel. I love to do things, but at the same time, I'm always on, and you need leverage to do that.
So let's pass the mic back down to Carolyn and get hers, because I know she's got great feelings on high customer experience.
Yeah, I do. And the thing is, I think there's a misconception that if you're doing 500 transactions, like maybe the clients don't get the best service. But I think it's the opposite, because when you're running a team, like for us, and I know you guys too, I think you're a little heavy staffed, but we have like 5 full-time staff, but if you have the systems put in place to run it, again, it's kind of like being the marathon runner and have to jump off track to get the home inspection addendum to set up your photographer. But if you have someone running everyone's needs that are in the organization, most of the time the clients get the best customer service experience they can. And so I think having more systems, higher volume is generally equal to better service. But this year too, we implemented something that was really amazing that I learned from everybody in the Tom Ferry network, that we onboarded. We call her our team care bear, but it's client concierge. So she's actually following them all the way from ratified contract to closing, helping them with move-in trucks, with vendors they need. They get pizza, dinner delivered moving night, just to make the experience easier for them, and just making sure all their needs are met, which in turn, they're super happy, good reviews, and a lot of referrals from it. So
I'm going to group a couple of questions together. The first one is, we have a lot of dual career part-time people that are asking questions. Would you recommend they join a team to be being productive and to be able to go full-time in real estate? And Keri, you brought up the point, you wouldn't necessarily have hired your assistant right away. You might have restructured that a little bit differently. What should they do? Should they join a team, or should they hire someone and maybe start their own team as they grow? So what dual career do you recommend they join a team to be able to go full-time, and then to either have an assistant or to maybe create their own team when they're looking to leverage up?
I mean, since I have the mic, but for me, like being a solo agent from a long time ago, it was a lot easier to jump into the market and go for it. The market is much more complex with all the systems and everything that you need to put in place to succeed. So as somebody that's newer, or even that, has experience, sometimes jumping into a team where somebody's already spent all those years and hours creating the systems can allow you to succeed right away. But if you want to start your own team, I would just say, if you're part-time, just jump all the way in and go for it, because having one foot in the water doesn't work. But you either got to go for it as a team leader or jump on a team that can help you succeed.
I'm going to sound really cheesy. I hope that's okay. I think a lot of feeling happy in life is doing what brings you joy. And so for people who have their foot in 2 boats, my question is it because you love that and it's bringing you joy? Is it because you're not successful enough in real estate to have financial security in this business? Like, what's it actually about? And what would you need to change to be able to spend your time doing more of what you love? I think that's the question to ask yourself, because for me personally, I'm not really interested in working with part-time agents. Why? Well, they miss the meetings, they don't get the sales coaching, then they don't have what they need to service the client correctly, and they're not as effective as they could be. That said, there are plenty of people. I just met somebody yesterday, and she said, I'm really interested in joining the team, but she's military and she has 6 months left. And so we talked about what a transition plan would look like, how she would train, how she would approach that. I believe that this is a difficult business to develop true confidence in, and you have to be intensely focused on studying and learning before you're going to be able to take great care of clients. If you have a couple hours a week to dedicate to that, I think you're almost dangerous. So I think there's a balance of figuring out what is your true desire, and then how do you move in that direction with intensity. You're not going to work 40 hours a week and be successful if you're dual career. Yeah. The second part you asked, sorry.
Should they jump on a team or start their own team? What should they do first?
So a part-time agent, Jason is a unicorn. I think we can all agree. Who thinks Jason is a unicorn? Say aye. Yes. So there are not many people that can have a full-time job at Target and start a team. Okay? For some of you, you might be a unicorn too. So I never want to stomp on anyone's dreams. Like, you should follow your heart and do what serves you. But in general, I don't think most people who have another career should build a team. You don't have time to service your own business, let alone others.
Okay, Ryan, I'm going to throw a softball at you. I'm going to change the topic because we're getting low on time. Unfortunately, Dustin opened Pandora's box earlier when he started talking about be prepared for your clients and this lawsuit questioning and commissions. Donnie's ducking, FYI up in the front. Over half of our questions that have been texted in are you guys, you had indicated that they should be, are you guys prepping on what to tell your sellers, and how are you prepping your team members to make sure they're comfortable answering that question for your sellers? This whole do I need to pay a buyer's agent question.
So here's my take on it. So the president of my brokerage, he said we need to be really well versed on this so that we can answer the questions, but he doesn't believe we should be out there pushing content around this, because all it's going to do, just like the media does, is create the questions with in the media's eyes about what's happening. Right now, we don't know what's happening. Okay, we know that there are going to be some changes of the flow of money. We know that the buyer is likely going to have to pay the buyer's agent directly, and that will, in our area in Virginia, that's what's happening anyway. It's just quote unquote coming down one way versus maybe being wrapped into the loan, maybe being paid for through a commission credit, or not commission, a closing cost credit to the buyer. The flow of money will work itself out. We need to understand that our value as a buyer's agent, we have to perfect it. We have to be able to explain it to the buyer when this rolls out. We got to be able to explain it to the buyer so the buyer is willing to pay us money. Okay, and if you don't have a value proposition in place to be able to say, here's why you're going to pay me. And by the way, if some of you guys are going out there saying, hey, guess what? You don't have to pay me now because the seller's agent pays me. We're not allowed to say that. Okay, the buyer's agency agreement says you're getting paid you're paid directly or indirectly. So at the end of the day, we just got to be able to prove our value as a buyer's agent. And in my opinion, buyers still really, really need us. Okay, go ahead, you can keep clapping. Buyers need us, and at the end of the day, all of us may have a different value proposition and have a different rate, but at the end of the day, we should not turn ourselves into discount buyer's agents.
Amen.
I spoke on this earlier, but I think you don't want to over prepare your clients right now. We're waiting on this judge's injunction that's going to have a huge effect moving forward. But in the time being, like, you sit with a buyer right now, and I've been keeping an eye on everything in the listings, and you scare somebody that, they're going to have to do this or that. And I'm not seeing any of that in the MLS right now. So, you got to be prepared. You need to have talking points and have your team prepared. And we've been having these conversations, but we got to watch, see how it plays out.
I'd say the majority of realtors don't even know it's happening. And not only do they not know it's happening, but that means our clients definitely don't know it's happening. I went on a listing appointment. I've gone on many listing appointments, and it's not the reason. The reason why I'm not listing at 6% is not this. Right? It's because I'm competing. And most of my sellers are like, well, 6% standard, and then I'm paying myself 3.5%. You need to realize it's a laggard metric. Now, the reality of that is eventually the laggard metric will come and we will have massive change in the industry. And the question is who's providing enough value where it's not a problem? In my opinion, that's what it comes down to. Whoever's providing enough value, it will not be a problem. And that's where there's going to be fewer people selling more real estate, fewer people buying more real estate, and fewer people owning real estate. That's the future. So think about that. And then last, if you look at that across the board, is the timing. So you either got to plan for it now, plan for it later. I'd say plan for it now, operate like it's going to happen, and when it happens, you'll be ready.
Fantastic. Well, a huge thank you to Stacy And all of our panel. Do you guys want to add or are you good? Oh, Keri's going to add. Keri wants a point. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm dying over here. I've been preparing for this my whole career by having a process. So I think what we're saying is like you have to have value, but you being valuable and you being able to articulate your value and have your client be enrolled in your value are two different things. There's no question that your buyers need you. But if right now, okay, I know that you're going to go like this. How many of you guys don't get a buyer broker agreement signed on your initial meeting with the client? Raise your hands. Okay, 3 honest people in this room. If you are not doing that now, get training from your team leader, your broker, someone who cares about you, because that needs to happen and you need to prepare now. Otherwise, when the world changes, you will be left behind.
And I know I have to, because this is such a touchy subject and I had to grab this too. But I'll tell you, like, let me ask you, who in the room has a great listing presentation? Wow. So a lot of you guys need to get to work because now you're going to have a good buyer presentation. So when you meet your buyer, what's your value add? When you go out and get a listing, you're trying to get people to sign up with you because they see value in working with your team and your company. When you go out to get a buyer for a presentation, it's going to be the same thing. Why work with me? Why would I be owed the commission? And everybody getting scared about this, honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being scared, I'm about a 2. I could care less because I tell you why. You let people go out and list and offer 0 buyer compensation. Well, how excited is that listing agent going to call, to get a phone call to double side their own deal? Like, it's not going to happen. You're going to have a lot of unrepresented buyers. Buyers need us. They want good agents and good service, and adding the value, I don't think it's going to cause any problem for us at all.
Spot on. Oh, okay. Okay, one thing. One more time, Dustin.
Yeah, sorry, one more thing. And I will just say, everybody in this room that is a Samson agent, you guys are so uniquely better suited now for this changing market because of the intel and the listings and the power that you have in this room. And that as a buyer's agent, you're going to be able to say, I have access to 6,000 agents that have this many listings that I may know before they even come on the market, which you don't have when you're in a smaller office.
Amen. We'll take that last thought. Thank you for that plug, Dustin. Guys, give it up for Stacy and all of our panelists. Spot on insights. Thank you so much.